Well, today on Straight Talk, I have Dr. Gavin Macgregor-Skinner, the director of GBAC, with us today to talk about something very important. We know that the coronavirus is mutating. In fact, in the news, you see experts saying that there are new mutations. Don't worry about it. Others say this is more infectious. Worry about it. So we have experts from all over the place who don't seem to know what they're talking about. Gavin, does it matter that this coronavirus is mutating?
Well, it's important to understand, Jeff, that the virus is a RNA virus. SARS-CoV-2 that causes COVID-19 disease is an RNA virus. HIV that causes AIDS, RNA virus. Influenza that causes the flu, RNA virus. They mutate all the time. But it's when these mutations occur and they become consistent and they replicate and they spread between people. And so when we start to see this, when we see that these viruses have mutated, the SARS-CoV-2 virus has mutated, and now that mutation has become stable within the population and it's spreading between people, that's when we get concerned. And what we're also seeing now is that, you and I recently discussed this, the US is not doing enough genomic sequencing testing. We're not looking hard enough for these mutations. And we've just seen recently through the CDC that university labs are now becoming engaged. They're sequencing samples. They're searching for these new variants locally, say in Boston, Connecticut, Boston, Massachusetts, in New Haven, Connecticut, Athens, Georgia, Nashville, Tennessee, Madison, Wisconsin, San Diego, California. All these labs are starting to work hard and they're starting to find mutations. And what we've just heard today, that the lab at the Ohio State University has discovered two new variants of the coronavirus. Now, one of these new variants has become the dominant strain in Columbus, Ohio.
Now, I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and I have heard no news about this. And I just checked on the local dispatch website, nothing. You said tomorrow it'll be announced. Today is what? Wednesday, January 13th. So I guess this is breaking news.
It's breaking news as of this afternoon, Jeff. If it hasn't made your news network, it's going to make it either tonight or early tomorrow morning. It is breaking news. It's from the Ohio State University. What we know so far is that this new Columbus strain has the same genetic backbone as earlier cases that we've studied, but it has three mutations that represent a significant evolution that have not previously been seen anywhere in the world for this SARS-CoV-2 virus. We now know that this Columbus strain did not come from the UK, and it's not related to the South African mutated virus either. Now, we believe that this new mutation became dominant within Columbus, Ohio, over a 3-week period that started in late December, and now here we are in January. And it's too early to determine how much more infectious this strain in Columbus might be, but the researchers believe that it's more contagious, just based on how quickly it's spread in the past few weeks in Columbus, Ohio. There's no data to indicate that either the new strains will impact the effectiveness of vaccines. It's still work to be done. And again, this arrival of this new strain in Columbus, Ohio is very concerning because it looks like it's more contagious, and that means it could lead to more people getting sick, more people getting hospitalized, and ultimately more people dying.
Is there any way to know where it came from, how it started, those details?
Well, because we weren't looking hard enough until very recently, we weren't doing the genomic sequencing data. At the moment, this new strain has been discovered with these unique 3 mutations, was discovered at the Ohio State University in Columbus, Ohio, and that's where we think this is a US mutation. So we'll hear more about this in the next coming weeks, Jeff.
All right. Well, I guess everyone in Columbus is now worried as they watch this. So tell us this. Let's go to another part of the world. Let's give Ohio a break, and let's talk about the UK variant. Any updates on that?
Yeah, so previously, Jeff, we've talked about this new UK variant, this new UK mutation. It's called the B117. Now, what we're seeing happening right now in the United Kingdom with this new variant could likely happen in the US. And again, we've got a very short window to prepare. And what I mean by that is that we've seen that from research done in the United Kingdom that this new B117 variant has increased the transmissibility by about 50%. We've seen it spread rapidly in the UK. We've seen it causing huge surge in cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. It's now the dominant strain in London. Just last week, we saw the UK reported a record-breaking 419,000 cases. We've seen the governments of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland with strict lockdowns, urging people to stay inside. And we now know that in England, this B117 variant took 3 months to take over and become the dominant strain in the outbreak. The scientists believe the variant first emerged in September of 2020, but by December, it was the dominant version in London. Now, we have a rough estimate, because this B117 UK strain is here in the US. Our rough estimate this week is that of the new cases of COVID infections in the US, 1 in every 1,000 is being caused by this B117 UK strain. But the problem is it's very geographically spread. It's on the East Coast, the West Coast, it's down in Florida, it's right across the country.
Okay, so that's the UK. Now we hear about something from South Africa as well. Tell us about that.
Well, this is another variant that's not related to the UK variant. This is the South African variant, Jeff. Now, it was discovered in South Africa about 2 months ago, and we now know it has spread to 12 other countries. But it has a unique mutation, and that unique mutation is called E484K. That's E484K, and it's called an escape mutant for a very important reason, because it's now been shown through research to be able to escape some of the antibodies produced by the current vaccines. Now, based on what we've seen so far from the scientists, is that they say that we highly doubt whether E484K variant will render the coronaviruses useless. With new mutation on its own or in combination with vaccines that we currently have against this variant, we also worry that the E484K variant might be an indication that the coronavirus is showing its ability to change, and that this mutation happened over months, and that other problematic mutations could happen. And if the next step of research to be done is to test these mutations against antibodies created by the vaccines, and that's work that scientists are currently doing, and we need to keep our eye on the research, and we hope to get more answers to these questions in the next few weeks.
You're just full of good news today, Gavin. Okay, one last question. So we see these new variants of the coronavirus circulating around the world. Everyone seems to be concerned. Some experts aren't. What should people do now that this is happening? Anything different?
No, there's nothing they should do differently. And that's the important message to the public, to everyone we work with, Jeff, is that no matter what strain of COVID-19 or what strain of SARS-CoV-2 virus is circulating, people need to continue to protect themselves by wearing a face covering, cover the nose and the mouth, protect the eyes, and they need to do that consistently. We need to keep our physical distancing, stay at least 6 feet apart. We need to avoid crowded indoor areas. We need to ventilate those indoor areas better. We need to continue to clean and disinfect high touch points. And again, we need to do frequent hand washing, preferably with soap and water. If soap and water is not available, then we use hand sanitizer.
Good words of advice. Thank you, Gavin, for your time.
You're very welcome, Jeff.